Hey guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 60. And this is a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. And this week we have 16 comics to talk about. So let's get started. We're going worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. And what was number 16? Original Sin issue 7. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, I love Original Sin. I know a lot of people that do. And I don't think it's a bad series. And honestly, there wasn't anything that bad this week. So that's why Original Sin ended up being, number 16. So that's why it ended up being that way. But it's just not my cup of tea. With this issue, we get to see kind of more Nick Fury's motives, and that the Watcher had one more secret, and Nick Fury's trying to figure out that secret. And also, we kind of figure out who killed the Watcher. It looks like the guy with the eyeball head is the one who killed the Watcher. So yeah, we get to see some small things. I mean, obviously a big thing that we find out who killed the Watcher. But for me, it's just not totally interesting. It's a very dark series. The artwork makes it very gloomy, and just not my cup of tea. So that's why I ended up being worst pick of the week this week, just because I enjoyed other issues more. Again, there wasn't anything totally horrible this week. So I'm going to give this 2.5 stars, and I am going to say this is worst pick of the week, number 16. Number 15 is Harley Quinn, issue 9. This is such a conflicting series because I did not know where to place this, honestly. Because there's some good things about it and there are some weird things about this series. I will say it feels out of character. It does. I think Harley Quinn's out there, but she's very out there in these last two issues. With this, we get to see two stories, kinda, which I felt was a little bit weird organizing-wise and story-wise, that there's these two different stories, kind of. One is that Harley Quinn's a showgirl, and the next is that someone's obsessed with Harley. And I liked the second story, I did, and I think there's some funny parts. My comic book store is actually referenced in the issue, Jim Hanley's Universe, shout out. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. We get some cool references. I think it's kind of a smart issue some points. Like, I thought it was really interesting that the showgirl story, the play, was about 1950s aliens, and I thought that was interesting just history-wise, like what we thought about space at that time. I'm not going to get into it, but I thought that was an interesting little tidbit. But it's like that ridiculousness of saying, oh yeah, I thought that was really smart, of the showgirl portion of this issue. So that's why it's ridiculous, some of the stuff. And I know that's Harley Quinn, but I feel like they do it too much. They heighten Harley Quinn too much, and this doesn't feel like Harley. So that's why it's so conflicting to review this issue, because there's stuff I liked about it, and the art's not that bad. I thought it was a little bit sketchier than usual, but it's not that bad, the art, but it's such a conflicting issue. So I'm going to give this 3 stars. I think it's up to you guys if you want to get it. Number 14 is Future's End, issue 15. Not a horrible issue, but again, Future's End just doesn't get higher than like 3.5 stars. It's just a lot of characters I don't care about, and they don't make me care about them. So with this issue, Future's End, we get to see a little bit more with Superman, why he has the mask. It seems like Lois and Superman had some sort of relationship. We still don't know what total relationship they had, but they do have a relationship. And Lois tries to warn him about like what the stuff she saw with the last issue. We get to see a little bit with Hawkman and Frankenstein, just learning a little bit more about those characters, even though Hawkman, we kind of already know. Hawkman's flirting with Amethyst throughout this issue. And a really cool conversation between the Earth 2 characters like Hawkgirl and who else was in this? Yeah, just a couple of Earth 2 characters, like Hawkgirl was here, so they have a conversation with each other. I thought that was kind of cool. And that's pretty much what happens here. It was, there's some good moments. I like the Earth 2 moments. Also, I think Grifter was in this issue also. But yeah, there's just some forgettable stuff, like the Grifter stuff, which I hardly even remembered he was in this issue. They go to Africa by the end of the issue. Yeah, I think the C-list characters is what bothers me the most, because I'm interested in Superman and Lois' story, but then they bring the C-list characters, which I don't really care about their story. And then Earth 2 I am interested in, because they make me interested in them. So make me care about these C-list characters that I wouldn't read Frankenstein usually, make me want to read his character. And I think that's the biggest problem with Future's End, is that they want to bring all these C-list characters, but they don't make us care enough to really even want to read it. So yeah, art's pretty consistent here though, so I'm going to give it three stars. I thought it was an okay issue. Up to you guys if you want to pick it up, but I'm leaning more towards don't pick it up. Alright, now we're up to number, let's see, number 13, which is X-Men, issue 18. I did give X-Men a try. I dropped it a while ago, but this is a new creative team with the executive producer of Arrow writing in. I was like, I like what they do with Arrow, especially with the female characters in Arrow. So I wanted to pick up X-Men, and that's what I did. Let's see if I like the issue. But with this issue, it feels like a middle of a story arc, kinda. They're trying to feed all these germs, and they have to use a lot of telepaths because we're going back into Rachel's history of her aunt who killed everybody. I have to think of her name. I think her name's Deathbird. Deathbird killed her family, and now she's pregnant, and they have to protect her. So that's pretty much what the issue is about. I liked it because I think they hide some really cool stories here, like Rachel. They made me care about Rachel. The green hair lady, which I can't think of her name because she's, I'm pretty sure, introduced in this series. Can't think of her name, but, you know, learning a little bit more about her. I liked her attitude, and I really liked the dialogue for this issue. Like, the leader of the government group says, oh, I only have 15 minutes to spare, and I'm only up to not even season 2 of Game of Thrones, because I only watch Game of Thrones every 15 minutes I have to spare. So I thought that was kind of a funny reference. So the dialogue was really good here. I liked it. But I have to say, there was nothing that really pulled me to say, I need to get the next issue of X-Men. I don't think I'm going to keep X-Men on my pull list, so I'm glad I tried the issue. And I think something that did bring the issue a lot was the art. It's very skinny lined artwork, and I'm not a really big fan of that, so I didn't really love, it wasn't my style of artwork, so I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think it's up to you guys to pick it up. I did really like the dialogue, and I do think you should give this issue a try and just see if it's your taste. For me, I'm a big fan of the roster also, so that's also another reason I'm probably not going to pick up the next issue, but I'm happy. I think this series is getting in a better pace than it was with Brian Wood. Alright, let's see what the next one is, which is number 11. And that's, should be Captain Marvel. Hold on, let me double check. It might be number 12. I might miss something. Yes, number 12. I'm sorry, I just spoiled that for you. Number 12 is Avengers Undercover, issue 8. I thought this was the last issue. I think maybe we have another issue or so. I'm actually a little surprised how low Avengers Undercover is. It's not, I mean, not like last, but I'm surprised it's low. Because usually this is like top 5 or close to top 5 because it's a really surprisingly great series. But they advertised this as 3 months later, but it doesn't really feel like a time jump, which I was actually disappointed with. We see that some of the kids from Avengers Academy, from Avengers Arena, they're trying to be Avengers Undercover, try to get the Avengers to this hellhole that the villains are plotting, and I like that idea. I did. They're really just trapping the Avengers, and that was the whole point of this. The villains being fooled by the Avengers because they knew that these kids were kind of undercover. So I like that part of the story. But the art's, again, very dark, as you can see as a theme. I'm not a big fan of the dark art. But I liked it. I thought it was a good issue. Nothing that too crazy happened in the issue that blew my mind. But I liked the character interaction. It was good. It was a good issue. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. I said pick it up. It's a good issue, but it's nothing like too extreme. Like, oh my god, you have to get Avengers Undercover. But it was good. I liked it. Alright, now we're up to number 11, which I already spoiled. Sorry, guys. And number 11 is Captain Marvel issue 6. Yeah, you know, Captain Marvel is definitely an approved series, which I like that they approved the character because Captain Marvel, I think, is a really cool female character for the Marvel Universe. It's probably one of the better female series for Marvel Comics. And with this, I like the issue, but it's more of just an ending of a story arc that's been kind of lagging a little because it's just been such a lengthy story arc. It connects through the Guardians of the Galaxy. This planet's going to be destroyed by Star-Lord's father, Jason, and Captain Marvel saves the day. And that's the issue. So it's a little generic. That's why I wasn't higher on my list. And I do give this 3 stars, but I love the coloring of this series. Coloring works so well. The artwork's really good, and it was a pretty good issue. I'm going to give it 3 stars. I'm leaning more towards pick it up, and I'm really looking forward to see what the next story arc is for Captain Marvel. Alright, we're up to number 10, That is Starlight, issue 5. I think this has been delayed, but every Mark Millar series is always delayed. I like Starlight. Issue 1 blew my mind. I loved issue 1. And then it kind of went downhill a little bit, but it's still an intriguing series. And it's cool to see this old guy, this retired hero, who everyone thought was crazy, relive his glory days. And that's what this issue is about. The rebels that was helping him, they all get captured by this issue, and he just shows how badass he is. He gets out of this pretty much lake of monster water creatures, and he walks out saying, you know what, boy, one of the rebel boys that he was helping, I'm going to save the world here. So I really like that. I thought it was a really cool issue. Again, it's not as emotionally heartbreaking as that first issue, or it doesn't hit as many emotional beats, but it's still a really cool issue. We learn how the person that brought him here, the little boy with pink hair, how his parents died, which is pretty much like Batman, but with laser guns, and how he became orphans. So that was touching and stuff, and it was a good issue. I liked it. I like the artwork too. I think it fits the series really well. And I think the ending was pretty good. I don't know how many issues we have left of the series, but it's only a $2.99 book. I do recommend Starlight, even though we don't know how delayed it's going to get, because Mark Millar does like to delay his books. But I think it's worth the read. Again, not as great as issue 1, but still a really good series and a good adventure book. And if you want to see a retired guy relive his glory days in a real kick-ass way, I think you should read Starlight. And I'm going to give that 3.5 stars. Definitely pick it up. Alright, number 9 is Southern Dog, issue 1, which I read digitally, so I don't have the printed copy with me. And I was not originally going to read this. I didn't know about it. I've never read an Action Lab comic book, and Jay messaged me and said, Kat, read Southern Dog. And I was like, alright, let me look into it. So I was looking into it. I was thinking of reading it during the weekend, like after my Comic episode. I looked into it and I was like, you know what, this actually looks pretty good. And I, of course, trust Jay also because he knows my taste. So I'm like, Jay, I'm going to add this to Comic episode. So that's what I did. And I liked it. I think the art was a little sketchy at times. Like the fingers were like attached and it was a little sketchy, the faces. But the overall story was pretty cool. It really conquers or confronts racism in today's world, and I think they did a great job with it. And honestly, it reminded me a lot of, there was this one scene where the father is talking about like all this racist stuff, and you could tell the main character's kind of a liberal person. His crush is a different race than him, so he's pretty a liberal person, and he doesn't have the same values as his family, but you can see his family. His father, we learn by the end of the issue, is believes still in Confederatism because he has the flag in the background. So it's a big factor in this whole entire series. And going back to it, there's this scene where the father's talking about like, oh, you shouldn't, trust people, and he's just talking about all this stuff. And it reminded me of the movie American History X. It just reminded me of that scene with the father telling him, oh, well, you shouldn't believe this teacher, you shouldn't believe all this crap. And it's interesting to see how the father had so much persuasion on him. So I'm really intrigued to see where the series goes, because we know that the guy turns into a werewolf. He got bit, so we'll learn a little bit more about that. And, he's different. How's his family going to, is his family going to be okay with that? Because they're hunters also. So I like the little themes they have throughout the issue, and that's what really, truly made it for me, was those themes that it's really rare to see. So, I give it 3.5 stars. I'll definitely be picking up this miniseries. Now we're up to number 8, which is Batman, issue 34. Yeah, I like this issue. It was a good issue, but it's a filler issue, definitely is. I'm so happy that 0 years over, and I thought this was going to be a little bit more connected to Batman Eternal, but it really isn't. It's like one page of him mentioning Batman Eternal, but the rest is just this one-shot story about this guy that felt like he wasn't noticed, so he killed people, and Batman's like, you think you're not noticed? I gotta put you in Joker's jail cell for a day and see if you're noticed or not. And people are gonna question why he was in the jail cell, so I thought that was kind of like a badass thing that Batman did by the end of the issue. So, yeah, it was a fun one-shot story. The art's really good, even though it's not Greg Capullo's art. I like the coloring. That was really good artwork, so really fit well. That's actually why I gave it so high, was because the art was so stunning for this issue. But of course I love Capello's art also. But yeah, I liked it. It was a good one-shot story. Do you need it? Probably not, but still a good story. So I'm going to give this 3.5 stars, and I do recommend the issue, but it wasn't mind-blowing. Alright, we are up to number 7, which is another Batman book. Batman Eternal, issue 19. Glad this is higher up than it has been. I really like this issue, and why it's higher than Batman, because things actually happen with this issue. The art is pretty dark. That's one thing I have to say. There's unnecessary shading with this issue, even if you look at, like, Red Hood's mask. It's just very dark and unnecessary shading, like I said. But overall, one of my favorite scenes from this week was in this comic, and that was between Batgirl and Jason. I love the respect that Red Hood has for Batgirl, and he remembers a time where he first met Batgirl, and I thought that was a really touching moment. And we do learn that Batgirl is being influenced by the same thing that influenced Commissioner Gordon that night that he got arrested. So we're also unraveling the Batman Eternal story that we've been waiting 19 issues for. So finally we're getting that. And I also reminded me when I was reading this issue, we haven't got Stephanie Brown in a really long time, so that's something I'm a little disappointed with. But the other stories are pretty good also. We get to see Batman teaming up with Killer Croc, which I liked. I don't know if it's totally necessary for Batman Eternal, but that was cool. A little bit more of Commissioner Gordon actually in Blackgate. And we get to see a little bit of Red Robin and Harper Row, which I liked. I don't know if it's totally necessary for Batman Eternal, but I do like the parallelism of Red Robin and Harper Row themselves because they're so similar. So overall, I like the issue. I'm not going to say it's a perfect issue because it's not, like I said, you know, some stuff doesn't feel like it should be in Batman Eternal. But I thought the Batgirl and Jason story really did make up for it, and art's not too bad also. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Love that Batgirl and Jason scene. Alright, so let's talk about number 6, which is Justice League United, issue 4. Yes, so Justice League United, I had to get digitally this week. But yeah, I love the chemistry with this issue. That's one thing I've been loving about the series. It feels very pre-New 52 in a way that these characters have great chemistry with each other. And that is what I'm excited to see this book grow, is see how this team really grows. And this just wraps up the story between the alien baby that was born, and we learn now Lena and Adam can't be together because of some chemical thing going on with them. So we learn a lot about our team here. I don't know how Lena and Adam are going to figure out, but I'm sure as Justice League United we'll figure that out. And the team is finally formed by the end of the issue. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. The art was really good. It was a heartwarming issue. And like I said, these characters are so different, but the way they come together, it just works. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. Really liked it. One thing I do want to state, though, is New 52 New 52 Supergirl, still don't like. I still hate how, like, cold she is, because she's never been a cold character before the New 52s, so to see that, especially just going off on Stargirl, I felt bad. It's just like, that's not my Supergirl. And I was like, thank God I'm not reading that series. Hopefully she warms up as the series goes on. But yeah, I like the issue a lot. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Alright, next issue is, next one is number 5, and that is All New X-Men, issue 30. Let's talk about this. This is I would say, a very conflicting issue also. There's a lot of that this week for me. I liked it. I did like this issue a lot. Obviously, it's in my top 5. I had a good time with it, but I know some people are not going to love it, just because I know X-23 and Angel really jumped into this relationship very quickly, and that's a quarter of the issue is their relationship. But what I liked about this issue is how they handled it. I think X-23 did act in character while she's in this relationship. I think her jumping into it wasn't really in her character, but because she's in this relationship and she's like, why would you like me? I feel like that's very X-23. She's kind of an emo character. So she felt very emo here, and I think Angel actually could bring a better side of her. So I'm intrigued to see where that relationship goes. Also, we get to see some Kitty Star-Lord stuff. I like that. And this issue is very tied into Uncanny X-Men. That's really what this issue is about, is to tie in the events that's going on with Uncanny X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, and all new X-Men and put it together. I think Brian Michael Bendis just wanted to prove, say, yeah, I know my timeline. Here it is. And that's something I loved about this issue, was that he did that. He brought in what's going on with with the Star-Lord book and Guardians of the Galaxy. He brought in what's going on with Uncanny X-Men and all new X-Men and just put it in this neat bow. So I really did enjoy that he did that, because most of the time in comic books they kind of forget about what events going on in different books, and they just, even if characters are meeting each other, they just don't care. So I like that Bendis did that with this issue. And that's something that we get to see with Kitty and Star-Lord. Also, we get to see Jean Grey and Emma become friends. Now that's the conflicting part with this issue. I think this whole issue didn't need X-23, even though I love these parts. I love the Kitty, Star-Lord, I love the X-23 and Angel parts, and I love that all new X-Men went back to its roots with this issue, and actually getting into these characters and chipping them down to its core. So I liked that about this issue, but they could have used a lot of this issue to break down how Jean and Emma end up becoming friends mentally. They went into each other's minds and started to understand each other, but it happened off screen. So this rivalry that's been happening for years, we don't know how it ended. And that kind of upset me, and that's why I didn't get higher, even though I really like the artwork and I like a lot of the story stuff. The thing that conflicted me was that scene, honestly, because I wanted to see that. Why didn't they show it to us? I felt it was a little bit of a cop-out. So that's something that did conflict me with this issue, but overall, I did enjoy it. Besides that, like, one little panel, I did enjoy this issue. I liked how everything tied in, and even though it was supposedly a filler issue, I think it worked well as a filler issue. And looking forward to the next issue, which is going to be this team going to the Ultimate Universe, and I just want Kitty Pryde to find Ultimate Kitty Pryde and them come face to face. That'll be a lot of fun. So Kitty Pryde's doing a lot of that. Looking at her alternate realities, her future self and now her ultimate self. So really like this issue. I am going to give this 4 stars, and it was my number 5 pick. Alright, so now we're up to number 4, which is Fantastic Four, issue 8. I really like this issue. I was shocked by it. I think Fantastic Four has been doing a great job, and they had great scenes with a lot of the Fantastic Four members, and again, going into the core of these characters. Johnny dealing with not having powers and losing his fame. Sue having this rampage, losing her children, and being able to defeat Thor, and just showing how strong of a character she is. Reed trying to calm Sue down. Who knew that would happen? And then going off to, I'm trying to think of the name, Lake Michigan, and Eden, which is this new community that they're going to try to be good people and try to work all this science stuff. So they're moving on. You know, Sue and Reed might be able to rekindle their romance, which is they're like the only married couple left in comics. So let's hope they can. And it seems like, of course, with this issue, they truly do have a good relationship. And also we get to see Ben is arrested by Alicia, well, because he killed Alicia's stepfather. That gets very interesting. So it's this inner turmoil between all these characters, and it works so well. The artwork's really good for the series also. So I loved it. I thought it was really great. I hope the series continues in this vein, just seeing the downward spiral and how this family gets back up from it. And I'm looking forward to the get back up part also. I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to get back up, but this was a really good issue for all the characters. If you love Sue, you love Johnny, any character you like, I think you get something with this issue. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Really, really enjoyed it, and definitely pick it up. All right, so now we're up to top 3, number 3. Amazing Spider-Man issue 5 is number 3 for me. I wish I could put this higher, because I had, again, all these, like, top 5, I had a fun time with them. Again, some of them might have faults, and I think Amazing Spider-Man is one of them, but I did like all these issues, and I had a fun time with this one. And we get to see with this, Silk and Peter, of course, they have chemistry right now, and I don't know exactly how to feel about it, but it's happening, and I'm still unraveling how I feel about Silk and Peter. We'll see as the series goes on. And Black Canary just wants to kill Spider-Man, and by doing that, she's gonna go to Peter Parker first and harm him, and this is happening all on live television, and she's like, you know what? Let's reveal Spider-Man's identity, because Spider-Man does come to the rescue during this whole entire scene. And cliffhanger. Spider-Man's identity revealed. Now, do I think this is going to happen? No, but I love this cliffhanger. Again, I'm a sucker for revealing identities of superheroes, so if it did happen, let's have a theory here. I always go back to One More Day, but let's go to, this is my crazy theory. It's not going to happen. It's like 5% this is going to happen. But Spider-Man's identity is revealed, right? Peter remembers about One More Day, and this all happens before Spider-Verse because his identity is revealed. If his identity is revealed, One More Day is probably unraveled, because that was the whole point of the spell. So if this actually happens, maybe we could, like, unravel One More Day, especially with May coming. I am really excited, obviously, for May to come back to comics, but also just see her reaction to all this mess that's happened, that Mary Jane is dating a fireman right now. So I'm really intrigued how that works. And maybe that's why this whole Silk romance is going on with Peter. So that's my crazy theory. I really think this is going to be a cop-out by the end of the issue, and like, oh, the identity's not revealed, even though it kind of looks like it's revealed. So I would like that. I had fun with this issue, you know, just coming up with the crazy theories, getting hyped up for Spider-Verse. It's interesting to see more of Silk. Even though Black Cat would not listen to Peter. Would not. Black Cat just wants to hurt Spider-Man for, like, the thing is, I feel like that's a little bit of the plot hole, because Black Cat just wants to kill Spider-Man, hates Spider-Man as this villain, but if she truly heard him out, it would be like, oh, Superior Spider-Man, I got you. Dr. Octopus did that. I don't hate you. Like, someone with a reasonable mind would do that. But I feel like Dan Slott just wants to tell the story, so he's, like, completely forgetting about that. But overall, I had a fun time with the issue, and even though there's some plot holes, I do like the issue. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. I really liked it, and we'll see where this goes. So excited to see where the series goes. Alright, so now we're up to number 2. Number 2 is Smallville Chaos, issue 1. I love this series. This is one of the best DC series out there right now. And this is just really great setup. We get to see that Lois and Clark get stuck in another universe. And this universe killed all the superheroes. There's robots attacking. And I love the Lois and Clark tag team. Lois is beating up robots. Clark is beating up robots. And the Watchtower team, Oliver, Chloe, and Tess, have to figure out how to save Clark and Lois. So it's fun. It's a really fun... I love what Brian Miller has been doing with this series, because he's built such a cool universe. We get to see Ted Kord in here. We get to see Mr. Terrific, even though they're not superheroes, and Lex just backstab everybody. The art is really good because we get to see Clark really turn into Superman. He has his curl starting to come there, or start to form there, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun with it. We get to see Wonder Woman bond with Chloe. It's just such a fun universe. Zatanna trying to use a spell. Having all these characters come together and form this universe, you know, a show I love. It's one of my favorite television shows ever. And form this universe that you would never picture and become maybe even better than the New 52. It's so cool to see that. It has the Earth 2 vibe to me also. So 4.5 stars. I love it. It's such a good series. Almost pick of the week. So what was number 1 is the last issue of Birds of Prey. I mean Batgirl. And the reason I say that is because this is such a Birds of Prey ending. Even though I think Birds of Prey ended this week also. Now, Batgirl's not ending, but this is kind of Gail Simone's last issue. So Gail Simone has Future's End issue, and then that's her last thing. And then we get the new creative team, which I'm very skeptical about, but I will keep an open eye on. But I like this a lot, just because if you're a fan of Birds of Prey, you get a Birds of Prey issue here. You get all these female characters fighting on the side of Batgirl, trying to defeat Nightfall, and they do by the end. And one of my favorite things about the Nightfall relationship with Batgirl, you know, arch nemesis thing for this series, I think Nightfall is very similar to Barbara in different ways, because it doesn't seem like Nightfall killed her parents, and she wanted to do the right things, but lost track a long time ago. And that's the connection with Batgirl. Everyone thought well, not everyone, but at least Commissioner Gordon thought that Batgirl killed James Gordon Jr. And once Nightfall gets that picture, she says, you know, here's a gift. You didn't kill your brother. And I thought that was really cool. And I love Batgirl's reaction, because that's so Barbara's reaction. She puts her hands up in the air and says, yes, my life is different. Let's move out of here. And she invites Alyssa, because that's her friend that she made. And I thought that was a really cool ending just for the end of Gail Simone's run. And because, again, that's now her true friend that's not a superhero. I don't know how the new creative team's going to deal with that. Is Alyssa going to be in the new Batgirl story? I don't know. But I thought that was a good ending for Gail Simone. And, again, I just thought it was epic. We have Misfit from Birds of Prey here. It's just such a good Birds of Prey issue, and that's why I couldn't give it 5 stars. It wasn't a Batgirl issue. It was a Batgirl issue, ended Batgirl, but it felt like this would be a 5-star Birds of Prey ending. But honestly, for Batgirl, I would have wanted to see more of her family, and that's how they would have ended it. I would love to see James Gordon Jr. go against Batgirl, and that would have been the best ending, because I think this series was at its peak with the Wanted storyline. But since Batman Eternal was going on and still going on, I think that's why they didn't do it, and that's such a shame, because I think that would have been an awesome story. And that's a point where I'm like, forget about Batman Eternal for 3 issues, just give me the story. And I don't think the new creative team would tackle that, but it's such a thing for Batgirl. You know, one of her greatest enemies, as we saw in Batman Eternal this week, is her brother. So I would have liked to see that, but I still really enjoyed this issue. It's definitely the best issue I read this week. So I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I really did like it, but I could have given it 5 if it was like, you know, the whole family coming together. That would have probably been a better ending, but this was such a fun issue. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Of course, I'll have Comic Uno episode 61 next week. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and Rant Situations. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.